Welcome back to Python MC. In this section, we're going to play with something called makeBeat. So just typing in the API browser, MakeBeat. makeBeat creates a rhythmic pattern. You have a string of characters. They recommend using a string that's a multiple of 16s, like 16, 32, 64. We'll show you what that looks like. And what makeBeat will do is it'll take a file name, a track, and a measure. So click track, start, basically. And then we'll look at a string pattern. We'll use a string pattern. We'll show you what that means. And the string pattern will start with, it'll use either a 0, which plays the sound file for the first 16th of a note. It'll have a plus, which continues that, or sustains it, so it's playing the 16th, the second 16th, the third 16th, if you keep having a bunch of pluses, or using a bunch of pluses, or as a rest, which is simply silence. So we'll show you what that looks like by taking hip hop, trap, hop, beat 02. Okay, we're going to silence all these other tracks and just play that. Okay, so really good hip hop beat, and now we're going to remix that. So you'll see this beat pattern that we'll use on line 22. It plays the first 16th and the second 16th of that original beat, and then it has silence, and then it plays that first and second 16th beat again. So you'll notice how it matches. The pattern of the beat matches. So you can see they look the same. That first like eighth or 2/16ths of that beat are being played, and it's being repeated. So here we go. Right, so now we've taken a hip hop beat. It now starts to sound more like a dance beat or like a techno beat instead of that original hip hop beat. So it just played that first 2/16ths with that beat pattern. So we're going to mute that and compare this third remix, this remix on track 3 rather, which plays the first quarter. So it plays from the first beat, which is the 0, and then it sustains that for 3 additional 16th notes. You'll notice it basically takes that first like quarter, because these lines represent quarters, and it just repeats that again and again. So after the 1, you see a line there that represents a quarter. Okay, that's our 4/16ths. So we'll play it. Now at the end here, then it plays the beat. It just plays the whole beat out. So let's see what happens in that string pattern down here. That beat pattern on line 26. You'll notice it plays the first note, first 16th, and then sustains that for 3 more 16ths. So it plays the first quarter. It does that again. It does that again and again. And then it just plays the first note, that 16th, and it sustains that for what, if you count those, that's actually going to be 15 pluses. So it's playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 16th notes. So it plays the entire measure. So it starts off playing just that first quarter of the beat, and then it finishes by playing the entire beat, similar to insert media, and does it twice. That's what that beat pattern does. So it's just give you a different idea. So it almost starts off more like a techno beat and then drops into the hip hop beat. That's how we remix it here. Now, let's compare this to the fourth one, which again, it's starting off, it's playing the first quarter of the beat. It'll do that again. And then the last sort of chunk of that string pattern are a bunch of just rapid fire 16th beats. It's like that first 1/16th. So it'll sound like a rapid fire drum fill almost. So let's hear what it sounds like. See, that it's almost like, if you're familiar with the old track Blue Monday by New Order, which you might be way too young to remember what that is. That's this like classic electro track. So now we're going to show you this next beat pattern and use of beat patterns. We just have a couple of normal hip hop tracks, hip hop dusty piano lead, hip hop funk beat, and then I'll use fit media. But down here we have these different fills, and fills in drumming are they're sort of like riffs or improvisations. We'll have fill A, which is beat followed by three silence, or rests rather, three silences, three rests, and then it plays another beat and then a rest and another beat and a rest. And remember that 0 represents the first 16th beat, 16th of what we'll use down here, which is the OS underscore snare 03. And then fill B is a 16th and 2 rests, and a 16th and 2 rests, and it keeps on doing that. And then the next one is fill C, which is 2 rests, then 3 16ths. And then fill D just flips fill A. So if you use that's a like string slicing, if you do a -1 with 2 colons, it's basically just telling it to use the same string and do it in reverse. So you can play around, because it's a string, you can start to play around with the string patterns that way using different methods or by indexing it. Okay, so that was fill A, here comes fill B. The next one's fill C. And the next one is fill A, just flipped in reverse. Okay, that's it. So we've shown you some examples of how you can use makeBeat in your sketch. Get into it, play around with it. We'll see you again on Python MC.